We will now call the business session of January 21, 2025 to order at 6:07 p.m. All council members are present tonight. The first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item of business is to consider the minutes of December 10, December 16 and 17, 2024 special and regular session city council meetings. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved as submitted. The next items to consider are proclamations. We have one proclamation tonight. Today is Doc Anderson Day. Happy Doc Anderson Day, everybody. And we have Doc Anderson and Lynn here. And I will meet you down at the podium, Doc.
Let's go down there.
Okay, we go.
Yeah, come down.
Down there or up there?
Doc, thanks so much for present you with this flag that has flown over the City Hall. Bradley Ford personally flew this thing over City Hall.
Is that right?
And we also have a commemorative coin that we want to do for 175th year. I just want to briefly say, I appreciate your public service record, Doc. You presented Waco well, and I've always been impressed by your leadership, your commitment, and really your grace. You've always stayed plugged into what's going on in Waco, and you're at every event in Waco. And there have been a lot of them in the last 20 years, and you've been at all of them, groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings. You've represented this district and this city very well. Waco's had a great run of thoughtful expansion and thoughtful growth due to your help, and you've been a huge part of that success, and you've been a great partner to the city of Waco, and I appreciate it, and this council appreciates it. And I also want to say that any recognition of Doc wouldn't be complete without mentioning and honoring your wife, Lynn Anderson. Thank you so much, Sue. Let's do it for Lynn. So without further ado, I want to read this proclamation. I, Jim Holmes, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim January 21st, 2025 as Charles Doc Anderson Day. In the city of Waco, we urge all citizens to join the city council, city staff, and me in honoring the former Texas State Representative Charles Doc Anderson. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for his dedication to making our community a better place to live. A graduate of Texas A&M School of Veterinary Medicine, Doc Anderson served as a small animal veterinarian in Waco from 1981 to 2015. As the owner of a veterinary practice, he began his political involvement as an advocate for small businesses. He served on committees for the Texas Association of Business, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, and was appointed to the Texas Small Business Advisory Council by former Governor Rick Perry. Doc Anderson was elected to represent Waco and McLennan County in the Texas House of Representatives in 2004 and was reelected 9 times. In the House, he was an advocate for the residents, businesses, and institutions in his district. He's been honored by many organizations for his efforts to preserve and enhance local and state institutions and programs, such as Texas State Technical College, Waco Center for Youth, and rural transportation networks throughout the state. Doc Anderson has dedicated his career to enhancing the quality of life in our community, growing the local economy, supporting our schools, and creating jobs for our residents. For his service to the state of Texas, McLennan County, and the city of Waco, we remain grateful. And this is in testimony whereof witnessed by my hand and the seal of the city of Waco signed by all of city councilmen today. So, Doc, I appreciate you.
Before we get a picture up there,
Oh, why don't you say a few words so you can absolutely.
just a few words. I was going to say, actually started with Mayor McDermott. And so that's been 7 mayors I've served with. And so I have a lot to be able to compare you to as we go forward. And so not to put any pressure on you.
Don't tell me your rankings.
But I very much appreciate this. You know, it's an honor to have served for McLennan County and Waco, the absolute heart of Texas, a city you can believe in. And very much so, and my whole focus has been on small business and business in general, and chambers of commerce and the city councils is, you know, around the area here. And so it's just an honor. Such a great area with MCC, TSTC, and Baylor, and so many positive things in our community here. It's just unbelievable, and the growth that we've seen here is, I'd like to take back that I might have a small hand in that, and so very much appreciate it. But Len and I appreciate you all taking time and recognizing this evening very much. Thank you.
All right. Look at me first. 1, 2, 3. Good? All right.
Let's hear one more time for Doc and Lynn on the way out. Thank you, Doc. And I'll get up here. The next item of business is public hearing 2025-014. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Amir Shell Mose for a short-term rental type 1 in R1A single-family residential district on property known as 4916 Hillcrest Drive. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit based on the following findings: that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the purpose and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, that the proposed use is compatible with appropriate and orderly development of the area which is located, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of the special exception, and that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. I would mention that Plan Commission did hear this in November. There was 7 notices that were sent back in opposition. Plan Commission did continue this to allow the applicant to reach out to the neighbors, which she did, and then in the hearing in December, we did not receive any further opposition to the request.
Are there any questions for staff?
Clint, quick question. Are these reviewable once they're done?
So it's a 2-step process for short-term rentals. There for this type in the residential zoning, there's the approval through the council. Once they're approved by council, then there's a license they have to obtain through the city, and that is a 2-year license that gets reviewed and renewed every 2 years.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? We will now go to public hearing for comments, and I do have one card, Miss Emma Mose, the proponent. Emma, when you get to the, or Miss Mose, when you get to the lectern there, please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address council.
My name is Emershel Mose. I am requesting a special permit to allow for short-term rental type 1 in an R1A single-family residence district on property located at 4916 Hillcrest Drive. This is a two-bedroom, single-family home located on a non-traditional residential street near what has already been established by the City of Waco as one of the busiest intersections in Waco, and also is not included in the homeowners association. I am exploring my options for bringing in additional income, and the possibility of occasionally renting a room is one of them. Being my guest would also offer a more personal, bespoke stay option for those who prefer a more home-like place to stay, but with some socializing. There are several types of short-term rentals, and my idea is to be what is considered a host, in which I stay on the property during the rental of a room to 1 to 2 persons. Of course, if I am to rent a room to guests I do not know, I would either rely on credible referrals or use a guest screening system such as Safely, which uses criminal background checks and ID verification to ensure the guests are who they say they are and that they are safe and orderly. I would likely market to single female travelers curious to visit Waco, and maybe professionals like traveling nurses who are often solo travelers. These types of guests would not negatively impact nor create a hole in the fabric of the neighborhood or community. Hosting these types of guests would likely go unnoticed, the same as when my neighbors host family and friends in their own homes. I have high regard for the culture of my community and appreciate living near some of the nicest homes in Waco. It is my intention to share neighborly friendships and to do nothing but contribute to the betterment of our intimate area as well as the hospitality industry here in Waco, also contributing to a tourism-friendly Texas certified community. Thank you for your time and consideration in this request. This concludes my comments, Your Worship.
Thank you, Ms. Mose. Appreciate you. Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak regarding this item? I see no other speakers on deck there. Seeing no speakers, we'll not close the public hearing. You're good, Emma. Thanks. We'll not close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Fairfield. Yes. Rodriguez. Ewing.
Yes.
Borderoud.
Yes.
Chase. Holmes.
Aye. Next item to consider is public hearing 2025-015. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Sharice and Nicholas Wickman for a short-term rental type 1 in R1B zoning district on property known as 8464 Spicewood Road. We did receive a request from the applicant to withdraw the application, so council will need to hold a public hearing on that request to withdraw. Staff does recommend approval of the withdrawal.
Any questions for staff? No questions. The public hearing has requested withdrawal of the application. Are there any questions about the withdrawal? I'll now open a public hearing on the request to withdraw for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding their request to withdraw? There being no one, I will close that public hearing and entertain a motion.
Oh.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Fairfield. Yes. Rodriguez. Ewing.
Yes.
Borderoud.
Yes.
Chase. Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2025-016.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending the concept plan of a plan unit development known as Saddle Creek Plan Unit Development, described as approximately 21.8 acres located in the James Lane Survey, Abstract 531, to allow automobile car washing establishments as a permitted use within the designated commercial area of the Saddle Creek PUD, generally located along the northern side of China Spring Road between Saddle Creek Road and Parker Springs Drive. Approving the amended concept plan for the PUD, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and a finding determined at the meeting in which this ordinance is passed, is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the amended concept plan based on the following findings and conditions. The findings of the proposed amended concept PUD is consistent with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the purposes of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances and the Plan Unit Development Regulations. The proposed concept PUD plan amendment is keeping with the purpose and intent of the PUD ordinance by providing a high level of amenities and design standards while allowing flexibility in the use and development of the land. We do have some conditions as well. The final PUD plan must meet all development standards consistent with the concept PUD plan and the site requirements of the Plan Review Committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, gating, landscaping, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. 2, the property shall be platted in accordance with the subdivision ordinance prior to issuance of building permits. 3, car wash establishment shall be limited to Lot 9 as shown on the provided site plan. 4, an 8-foot masonry wall shall be provided by the developer at the rear of the car wash parcel at the time of construction. 5, hours of operation shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 6, vacuum pump equipment shall be placed in an enclosure. And 7, all site lighting must be directed toward the establishment and not any adjacent properties.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. We do have one card on this. We have Ana Carrillo. Ana Carrillo? Let's go with Ana Carrillo.
Good evening. Ana Carrillo is our civil engineer. I'm one of the property owners of this site.
Can you identify yourself and give us your address?
Oh, sorry. Braden Horton, and we own the self-storage facility as well as this adjacent pad site. Here to answer any questions that staff or council may have.
Any questions?
None for me.
Doesn't look like we have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other speakers on this item? Seeing no other speakers, we will close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Fairfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Bordewood.
Yes.
Chase. Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item consider is public hearing 2025-017. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from medium-density residential office flex to mixed-use flex on property containing approximately 0.38 acres, described as all that tract of land in the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, out of the Carlos Ocampo Grant Abstract Number 32, and being a remainder of the called 0.82 acres of land described in a deed to J.C. Rasner, recorded in volume 1641, page 664 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas, known as 3208 Robinson Drive, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed, that certain property described above shall be changed from O3 to C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing saving clause, providing severability clause, and finding determined at the meeting in which this ordinance is passed, is open to the public as required by law. By a 9-0 vote, Plan Commission recommended approval of the land use change based on the following findings: the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed mixed-use flex designation. Mixed-use flex designation is consistent with the surrounding land uses and other area properties that are already designated in a mixed-use flex. And the latest draft of the Waco Metropolitan Area Thoroughfare Plan identifies an extension of the Garden Drive as an arterial to complete an east-west connection from I-35 to University Parks, further supporting mixed-use land use designation. Zoning change findings are that the proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. The public infrastructure is generally adequate to provide for uses allowed in C2 zoning district. The property meets all the area and width requirements for C2 zoning. And the proposed C2 zoning is incompatible with surrounding areas like commercial uses, and it's along a major arterial street, which is US 77.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff?
I have, did you get any opposition for this?
No, ma'am, we did not receive any cards back on this one, or any speakers at the commission either.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
I will now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Ewing.
Yes.
Porterwood. Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2025-018. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing the zoning map shall be changed at certain property described approximately at .9 acres, describes Lot 3B and all of Lots 4, 5, 6, and 7, Block 3 of the J.W. Mann subdivision, known as 1726 Austin Avenue, shall be changed from C3 district classification and be designated in the C4 district classification, providing for penalties, finding savings clause, finding severability clause, and finding determining the meaning which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the change based on the following findings. One, the proposed zoning is conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. The Imagine Waco plan for greater downtown and the purposes of the downtown district overlay. Two, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the C4 zoning district. Three, the area has been transitioning exclusive commercial uses to commercial mixed uses over the past several decades. And four, there's C4 zoning in the vicinity of subject property as you approach downtown Waco.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for Director Peters or staff on this item? There being none, I will now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this public hearing item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Fairfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Porterwood.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2025-019. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, abandoning a portion of the Trice Avenue right-of-way being approximately .319 acres of the S. Rice Survey, abstract number 349, McLennan County, Texas, shown on the J.J. Dean addition to the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, as per plat recorded in volume 232, page 212 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas. Also shown on the Highland Baptist Church addition to the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, per plat recorded under instrument number 2007-013-3637 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, adopting findings and conditions from the Waco Plan Commission for the abandonment, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing severability clause, and finding determining the meaning which this ordinance is passed, is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommend approval of abandonment based on the following findings and conditions. Findings are that public use of the right-of-way is not required for proper flow of traffic or for emergency vehicle access to the area. Utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way, and there is no adverse impact on the surrounding street system as a result of the abandonment. We do have three conditions. A 15-foot easement must be retained for the existing water line and the rerouted water line, which should be clearly indicated on the corrected survey map. A 26-foot wide fire lane must be provided with 150 feet of all exterior points of the building's first floor. If the distance exceeds 150 feet, an approved turnaround is required. And then additional easements must be retained for any utility lines discovered during the development of the abandoned area. Alternatively, utility lines may be relocated at developers' expense. Coordination with the appropriate utility provider is required.
Thank you, Director Peters. Is there any questions for staff on this item? There being none, I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Barfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing. Bordewood.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is the consent agenda. The following resolutions were pulled from the consent agenda and will be voted on separately. These are resolutions 2025-037, resolution 2025-052, and resolution 2025-062. We will first entertain a motion on resolution 2025-037.
And Mayor, this one was taken out of consent so that sequentially it could be voted on first based on a staff recommendation. Is that right?
Correct.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Yes.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Bordewood.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is Resolution 2025-052. There's special motion language for this. Do I hear that motion?
Yes, Mayor, I got special language. I move that the City of Waco, by one record vote applying to all units of property to be condemned, authorize the acquisition, including the use of power of eminent domain if the city's offer and/or negotiations are unsuccessful, of a 0.09 acre drainage and utility easement across a portion of 133 H.W. Fair Drive, McGregor, Texas, a 1.25 acre wastewater easement, a 0.52 acre fee simple right-of-way, a 1.18 acre fee simple tract, and a 3.55 acre temporary construction easement across a portion of the 41.63 acre residue tract of the SDC Riverside Phase 1 addition to the City of Waco, according to the plat thereof, recorded in volume 539, page 97 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, a 0.08 acre drainage easement and a 0.004 acre fee simple right-of-way across a portion of 400 Sunnydale Drive, Woodway, Texas, a 0.0 drainage easement across a portion of 503 River Park Road, Woodway, Texas, and a 2.42 acre fee simple right-of-way across a portion of 4453 Spiegelville Road, Woodway, Texas, said acquisitions being necessary and for the public use for the expansion and widening of Spiegelville Road for the Spiegelville Corridor Improvement Project.
Do I hear a second on that motion?
Second. Thanks.
Did you go second?
Yes, I did second.
Second from Councilmember Chase there. Any discussion on this item? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Barfield. Yes. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Bordewood.
Yes.
Chase. Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is Resolution 2025-062, and there's a resolution there.
Yes,
and
Mayor,
I'll
due to
entertain
a-
a motion on this resolution.
Yes, Mayor, due to a Scrivener's error, it appeared that we were to approve a $426 million authorization. That was just incorrectly put down. So being a fiscally responsible city council and city, I move to approve this item at an amount not to exceed $426,692 for all the easements and an amount not to exceed $4,500 for closing related costs.
Second.
And a second, any discussion? Good catch there, you just saved us $500 million. That was great. Okay, City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Barfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Bordewood.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2025-020 through 2025-068, except for the resolutions we just discussed, Resolution 2025-037, Resolution 2025-052, and Resolution 2025-062. Do I hear a motion on this consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Barfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Ewing.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is ordinance, number 2025-069. City Attorney Perdon.
City of Waco, Texas, repealing Section 18-131 mandatory retirement and Chapter 18 personnel of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Barfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2025-070. City Attorney Perdon.
An ordinance amending Section 25-245 junk vehicle disposal of Article 10 junk motor vehicles of Chapter 25 Traffic and Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, to comply with Chapter 683 of the Texas Transportation Code, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 17, 2024.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Barfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is ordinance 2025-071. City Attorney Perdon.
City of Waco, Texas, amending Section 28-929 of Division 3 Accessory Structures and Uses of Article 5 Supplementary District Regulations of Chapter 28 Zoning of the Code of Ordinances for the purpose of establishing criteria for fence construction, including height, installation, and maintenance standards, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 17, 2024.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussion on this item? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Barfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Chase. Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2025-072.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain properties containing approximately 1.358 acres described as lots 11 to 13, Block DD of the West End Addition known as 2405 and 2409 Sanger Avenue shall be changed from C2 district classification and become and be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 17, 2024.
Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, will you please poll the council?
Barfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2025-073. City Attorney Perdon.
To the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from medium-density residential office flex to mixed-use flex on properties containing approximately 2.20 acres described as Lot 6 and 7, Block 2 of the SunWest Village Addition, known as a portion of 200 Stage Line Drive, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that the property described above shall be changed from O2 to C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 17, 2024.
Do I hear a motion on this ordinance?
So move.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Is there any discussion? City Secretary Spikes, please poll the council.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing. Porter. Chase. Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. The next item to consider is the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. The council is unable to conduct a discussion, but we'll listen. We'll ask staff to look into concerns, and we'll provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to the council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. And we do have some cards here tonight, so I'll read this additional disclaimer here. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you'll be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please notice that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. While public discourse is very important to this council, we have to maintain order in the meetings so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from the council meeting any person who, while addressing the city council or while attending the city council meeting, any person who makes personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, any person who becomes boisterous, or any person who makes unauthorized remarks from the audience, or claps their hands, or stomps their feet, whistles, yells, or makes similar demonstrations. So we have 4 cards here tonight. I will start with the first card, Mr. Matthew Tuttle. Mr. Tuttle, as you get to the podium, please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Matthew Tuttle. I live at 2610 Burnett Avenue, Waco, Texas, 76711. I'm here to talk about a dog park. I want to start off and I want to talk about things that have taken less or equal time to build than the proposed dog park. So the Tesla Gigafactory broke ground in July 2020 and it opened in April 2022. McLean Stadium broke ground in September 2012 and it opened in 2014. Foster Pavilion broke ground on May 2022 and the first game was in January 2024. My question to all of this is how can these highly intricate building constructions take less time to build than a dog park? Essentially, all we're asking for from the city is to put up a fence on a piece of property that you already own. The fact that you said it'll take 2 or 3 years is not only disheartening, but it also makes me question the so-called government efficiency. The city of Waco has over 1,600 employees and runs on a $400+ million total operating budget. With such a robust budget and employee number, I would think that you could get 2 or 3 brains together and bodies and put up a fence. Or maybe this comes down to an issue of over-administration. If we're paying 1,600 employees, benefits, pensions, healthcare, all out of our tax dollars, and a response to a simple request for a dog park is logjam, then maybe as a city we need to look within and find out who are we paying to actually make things happen and who is stealing company time on taxpayers' dime. Realistically, we could have a dog park up next week if we wanted. There's a park, Gurley Park on 3rd Street, has plenty of acreage. All you'll have to do is put up a fence. That's all we're asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tuttle. Our next card is from Haley Lay. Haley Lay. If you would, as you approach the podium, when you get here, please state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Lay.
Hello, my name's Haley Lay. I live at 112 Lindenwood Lane in Hewitt. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. For the past several years, I have been part of the Hot Dog Park Waco community, first as just a park user and a dog owner, and then as one of the volunteer board members. We were a group of volunteers who maintained a large dog park in Waco with the permission of the property owner. In September of last year, the property was abruptly closed and sold without any notice to us as volunteer board or to the community. Without Hot Dog Park, there is nowhere in Waco that we can take our dogs to play off-leash safely. We have been working since the park's closing as a board to ask the city of Waco if they would be willing to add a dog park to plans for the future park developments. We first attended a city council meeting on October 15th, 2024, where some of our community spoke about the closing of Hot Dog Park and how it's affecting us all. After the meeting, we spoke to several people who are on or work for the city council. They informed us that proper procedure would be for us to attend the City of Waco Parks and Recreation Department meetings and get on their agenda, as they are the group who oversees park development. Since October, we have attended every Waco Parks Department meeting that has been held. At each meeting, we spoke to the members and were assured that Dog Park would be added to the next meeting's agenda. As an agenda item, they would decide if the department, if a dog park is a possibility as a development for the city of Waco in the upcoming years. Each time we show up only to see that the agenda is missing dog park as a topic to be addressed. We feel as though we are being misled by them telling us in person that our topic will be on the next month's agenda and then them not adding it multiple times. We are here again today at the City Council meeting to readdress this issue. Why does the City of Waco, with over 400 acres of maintained public parkland and an annual citywide budget of over $580 million, not have a dog park? Dogs are the most popular pet in the USA, and 43% of Texas citizens are dog owners. That means that by not providing a dog park for Waco citizens, the leaders are neglecting 43% of the population. We are asking for an answer to our question to be provided. Will the City of Waco be adding at least one dog park to future city development plans? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lay. I appreciate your comments. The next card is from Mr. Mike Miller. Mr. Miller, as you approach the podium, when you get here, please state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to address council.
My name is Mike Miller, 10624 Calaveras Drive, Waco. I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't planning on speaking, but the city needs a dog park. I don't know if any of you are dog owners or not, but they need to exercise. Walking around the block doesn't exercise a dog. Dogs are natural athletes. They need to run, they need to play. They're social animals. And if you don't get them out and you don't socialize them, then the dog becomes a problem. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate your comments, and I like your T-shirt there, too. Nice message. Again, thanks, Mr. Miller. We have one more card, Ms. Alexandra Salazar. Ms. Salazar, as you get to the podium, you work your way up here. As you get up here, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address as you get here. And I think we had a handout too, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if they got it printed out. Yeah.
Was it that or was it this?
Oh, I wasn't trying to get that photo, but I was trying to get a photo of my dog.
Oh, is it this one?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got it up here.
And I brought my photo just so he can't be here, so I'm letting him be here. So yeah, my name is Alexandra Salazar, and I live at 2610 Burnett Ave. This is my family, minus the cat. We're all Texans, although I call myself a Wacoan. My dog Rex and I both came from across the state, West Texas. I lived in an apartment and worked, so it was very important for Rex to routinely frequent my multiple hometown city-ran dog parks to gain confidence interacting with other dogs and exercise. Once we moved cities to Waco, it was a priority of mine as a pet owner to find a space that is just his, as he was still young and had a lot of energy, and we were going through a stressful time. That was 7 years ago. Nowadays, Rex is 9 years old. Rex loved the Rex Hot Dog Park, as we would call it. Throughout the years, he gained independence and confidence in himself. He knows how to potty, and I know how to pick it up. He learned how to communicate and interact with other dogs. I've shed many tears for my Rex dog losing his friends in Dog Park and driven many miles to find him others. In Harker Heights, there's Purser Family Dog Park, that's 58 miles away. Central Texas Bark Park in Temple is 39 miles away, and Slovakchek's Dog Park is 20 miles away. City of Waco very recently last year took ownership of Pet Circle Regional Animal Center. As a city, you want the community to step up and adopt animals in the shelter, but as a city, you don't provide the space for the families that adopt them to let those animals safely be off leash. We have many parks, but as a responsible pet parent and as a City of Waco, signs point out at parks, if you love your pet, leash your pet, up to $500 fine. It's very upsetting to not have a dog park accessible to me and my dog in our city. A 2-year wait is ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Salazar. I appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else here tonight, present, who'd like to speak during the hearing of visitors? Seeing none, we will close the hearing of visitors and we'll go to council comments. Are there any announcements that council would like to make at this time? We got a lot of them.
I wanted to announce that in addition to us breaking ground on the Bledsoe Miller Steam Center last week, which we're super excited about, we will be cutting ribbons in District 1 this weekend as we open the Doris Miller Pool. It was imperative for us to figure out how to have pool safety, swimming safety in our community. You know, we just today pushed forward to advance work for Waco Rowing. You can't have folks rowing if they don't know how to swim. And the only way to do that in our community, it was limited to do that in our community. So we are super excited to bring swimming back into District 1 and incredibly grateful for our staff for making that a priority as we redevelop the Doris Miller Recreation Center. And now we can have indoor pools. And so I'm challenging all my council members who are going to be there on Saturday, prepare for a cannonball.
We're all going to jump in? Whoa.
Let's go.
I don't know how to swim.
Well, then our first lessons come for Councilmember Rodriguez, because, you know, it'll be water aerobics, it'll be great. We'll do it. But I'm thankful to staff for making this happen, and I hope that as many people as possible come and join us for this great ribbon cutting.
Thanks, Councilmember Bearfield. Alice, did you have anything?
I was just going to say, Friday I read a proclamation for Byron Nelson, who retired from the Heart of Texas Ranger Hall of Fame. He served 28 years, and I had never seen so many white hats there. Texas Rangers were all over, but a lot of staff was there. I appreciate them being there and supporting me while I read the proclamation. But it was an honor for me to read a proclamation of his retirement of 28 years working for the city. And I got to read all the accomplishments and things that he did for that museum that I probably forgot, but was reminded when I read the proclamation. So I just wanted you guys to know that we sent him off properly into retirement. We had at the Dr. Pepper Museum with Dr. Pepper floats, and I had my Dr. Pepper there. So I just wanted you all to know that we did send him off. We sent him off right.
Thanks, Councilmember Rodriguez. Josh?
Mayor, I've got one. First of all, I wanted to say thank you, Councilmember Rodriguez, for doing that on our behalf. Grateful for that. I know we've had a council that has been very involved in leadership locally, statewide, nationally. I know, Alice, you've been involved in TML and NLC in past years, and I know that Councilmember Bearfield is very involved in the leadership and on the board of those organizations, and so represents Waco well. And grateful for our mayor who went to the U.S. Conference of went to the U.S. Mayor's Conference in D.C. This last weekend and represented us and advocated for us there. My understanding is he was also able to stop by the Texas Black Tie and Boots Ball with a lot of our statewide leadership and our congressman and our state representative. And I'm told he got to meet Waka Flocka Flame, the Atlanta rapper. And unfortunately, there is no photo of that encounter, although I'm told they talked. But Pat Curry was diplomatic enough to take a photo with Waka Flocka Flame, put it on the social media.
I did meet Mr.
We're
Flame
making
there.
strides in hip hop, but I'm hopeful next time we'll get that pic.
I did meet Mr. Flame, that's correct. I did go to D.C. last week for the U.S. Conference of Mayors Conference. I'm told that the city managers and city manager staff most dreaded day of the year is when the mayor comes back from the U.S. Conference of Mayors with 100 new ideas on how to run the city. I've only got 50, so it's almost bad. But it was a great meeting out there and great discussing current issues with all the other mayors throughout the United States. That was a lot of fun and very interesting for me. Any other comments tonight?
I'll just point out that we're coming off a weekend of MLK festivities. Friday, kicking off with the wreath laying, candlelight vigil. Sunday, I had the honor of attending Church Under the Bridge in their racial reconciliation Sunday service. It was cool, man. It was freezing cold. So I shouldn't say it was cool. I should say it was cold. But it was great being out there. And yesterday it was great having the honor to speak before Councilwoman Bearfield at the MLK March, because it's always good when you get a chance to speak before Andrea Bearfield, because it means you're not speaking after her. So you're doing yourself a favor.
I've been there.
So it was great to see her there. And would just charge those here and those watching at home to not let the memory and legacy of Dr. King be confined to just a weekend or a day, and to live out the mission that he lived and gave his life for on a daily basis.
Any other announcements? I'll just say too that our city secretary Michelle Hicks is encountering some health issues, and she's taking a little bit of time off, and let's all be praying for her and keep her in our thoughts. And also thank our fill-in tonight, Mandy Spikes, who's been part of the organization before, and thanks for your work in helping out here. But let's all keep Michelle in our prayers.
And Mayor,
Yes.
you better be nice to me because I introduced you Friday.
But I got to be nice for like 3
HL in the
days.
luncheon, yes.
That's true. That's true. That's right. There's the leadership, Hispanic Leadership Network is having a luncheon on
Yes,
Friday.
and I
and I'll
get to introduce the
That's
guest
right.
speaker,
I'm
and
the
that is
featured-
you.
Absolutely.
So you got to be nice between me now
For
and Friday.
3 straight days. Are there any other council requests for scheduling of future agenda items? At this time, we will now recess the business session and reconvene the executive session at 7:00 p.m.
It is hereby given that the City Council will go into executive session in accordance with the following provisions. Real Properties, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072, Attorney Briefing, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071, Downtown Development Project, being the mixed-use development on city-owned and adjacent properties near City Hall, and possible creation of a district pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 375, Real Properties, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072, and Economic Development, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.087. We are now in executive session.